everybody. How's it going? It's Mike.
Hello.
Cheryl with Hendrick Studios. Cheryl's going to do a nice painting tutorial today. But first, we want to do a little follow-up on the last tutorial we did, which was our butterfly, or dragonflies. Let me just, if you want to put it down, go ahead and put it there. See how absolutely stunning those came out? Look at the beautiful lavenders and the transparent greens.
What's that orange?
Look at that. That's so pretty.
And there's a red butterfly.
And then there's your butterfly. Oh, isn't that stunning?
Now, I really like how they look.
Hello,
on their
Randy.
back too, but sometimes, you know, the veins are on the front, though, so it's cool.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, that was our project from 2 days ago. Thank you for dropping by and visiting with me today. Today we're going to paint, as soon as Mikey gets set up, we're going to paint this. Now, normally I paint on canvas, which is cool. But y'all don't paint on canvas, so I had to go back to the store and buy some wood. This is from Dollar Tree. It's a little sign. Oh, goes this way, sorry. Little sign. It had a little piece of hanger on it. It was stapled on this little piece of twine. Anyway, y'all paint on wood, so it's now wood. I've painted it white with house paint from... Oh, hold on a second. Valspar. I'm just using a white base, flat interior. Okay. I generally don't go with a line drawing, because I just don't. It's just how I work. I have 3 art degrees, and I tend not to do that, but I know y'all don't have art degrees, and that's cool. So I will provide a drawing, a line drawing, of, you know, the general shape that we got going on here for you after the show. But the reason I'm doing this video today is because people want to know how I painted trees. I don't use a dab technique. I'm painting with a round brush. All this, other than the background, is painted with a round brush. So that's what we're going to do today.
Hello, Helen.
Hi, Helen. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Carlotta.
We don't have that many colors today. We're going to be working with white, a dark green. This happens to be hunter green. I don't care what color green you use. Just make sure it's dark. A black. I don't care about brands of paint. Don't care. Indigo blue or dark blue. A medium brown or a regular brown, and then a light brown if you got it. And if you don't have it, it's cool. Don't worry about it. We'll adjust to something else. I believe in working with what you have, so whatever you have is the best product at the time. So let me move this one out of the way. So the first thing we're going to do is our background. I use this project, except for the very, very fine stuff. I have an old favorite paintbrush I'll use. But I went to Michael's, and you can buy this set from Michael's, which is pretty much everything I'm painting with. There might be even another brush. There might have been 15. Yeah, there's a few more. It was a set. It was under 10 bucks. It'll be fine. Whatever paintbrushes you have are fine. But this technique uses a round, preferably a smaller number. This is my favorite round. This is one of my oil painting brushes. I do oil painting, watercolor painting. Acrylic painting is my least favorite, but that's, you know, neither here nor there. It responds like oil, just faster. I like oils because they're permanent. Oh, this one's got paint on it. Oh, that's a problem. Anyway. So, the first one we're going to start off with this big paint. We're going to do the background first. Now, I'll draw with my little pencil or basic line. I just need hills because, yeah, I just need hills. So, I'm putting them side by side. So, I'm just going to draw my line down. Another line down here in front of it. This is my front hill. It's a little taller. It's okay. Don't matter. And I don't generally draw my trees going up, but for your sake, I will. So we're going to put this green tree here on the left. We're going to put it right about 1.5 inches over, and I'm just going to draw a line up. I don't tend to draw straight lines because trees are never straight. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I want this one to be down a little further than it is in the original, and I want this one to be back a little further. I went over it. It's just pencil, so you can erase it if you want to. And then I have my other tree, and it's going to come there. So that's my drawing. I know it's really vague, but that's how I work. So anyway. Oh. Let me flip this page over. I use a Masterson's palette for acrylic paint. And what a Masterson palette does, it has a lid. It has this sponge underneath it that you dampen with water, and it keeps your paints wetter. You can use any kind of palette you want. You can use a piece of paper plate, a foil. I don't care. As long as you have something to mix your paint on, we're good. We're going to call it good. I'm going to flip this over because it's weird, special paper. And I don't know where I put the rest of it. So we're going to work on the flip side, which is no big deal. So I'm just going to put out a bunch of white because I use mostly white on this. A little bit of my green. I don't use a lot of green. I know it looks like green, but it's not. It's really more of the indigo blue color. Again, any brand is fine. You can do any paint that you want to work with. Personally, I would be doing this in oils if it were my personal piece. Did I use this one? Yeah, I think so. We'll find out. Yeah, that looks like that one. Okay, so I must have used. This is it. Okay, put it away. Okay, I had another blue out here earlier, and I want it back. Winsor blue. I think that's it. Sometimes I add blues. It's okay. Yeah, that's the blue I want. It has a little bit more green in it. That's Winsor blue. Winsor blue. These paints are really old. I assume they're still made on the market. You can buy some of them today. I've been an artist for 20 years, so as long as the paint isn't dry, I'm good with it and I'll use it. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with white, and I'm going to add a little bit of this color blue. And I want it mostly white. I do most of my mixing with the paintbrush because it's faster. And I just want a tint, so you see it's really a blue, and that's good enough for me. So I want a little bit of variation though before I get started, because sometimes I like some gradient in the sky. Gradients is where your color blends from one color to another. Okay, so I have a couple colors I can play with here for like clouds and stuff. I use a lot of water with acrylics because I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, and everything dries here before you have a chance to do anything. That's one of the reasons I use the Masterson palette for my acrylics. It's because it helps keep the paint wet. I tend to paint acrylics really fast because it dries. So if you didn't see something, know that I will have this on replay on my webpage, my business page, and probably my personal page because, you know, why not? And it'll play on Gifts Acorn more for a couple days. I don't know how long it's going to stay up there. It's very dry here today. We had a little bit of rain, if you want to call it that, yesterday here, but not really. It was more like we had clouds and cold wind. So you can still see my pencil lines underneath the drawing, and that's just fine. Okay, that had a little bit more blue on the bottom, which is fine. Sometimes I put the darker color at the top. Sometimes I put the darker color at the bottom. This time it's going to be at the bottom because that's how it ended up on the brush.
Hi, Frankie. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm glad you made it here. Hope your holidays are going well.
She's commenting on your beautiful style.
Oh, thank you so much. I need a little more color at the top. But I do watercolor, I do oil, I do acrylic, I do ceramics. My current love is glass. I work with glass. I do work with torch glass, that's more hot glass. Mine is more warm glass. Warm glass is done in a kiln. Just depends on your terminology. I'm not concerned with the pattern that I got going on, and I can even see the pattern that's behind it on the back. I really don't care because it's going to be covered up with a little splattered snow and stuff. So I got a little bit more darker down below. I want to keep this kind of reflected in my snow here at the hill. Now, one of the main things that's important, people wanted me to do the trees because they look realistic. And part of the thing of making trees look realistic is light. You have to have the light all coming from this one direction or the same direction on multiple trees. You can't have one tree have all of its shiny parts on this side and your tree over here have all the shiny highlights on this side. That's not what it works like. Go outside and look at your trees in your yard or the park or wherever. They all got the light on the same side depending on where the sun's at. So you want to keep that going. So everything in my direction on this painting, my light is coming from this direction. You see on this piece here, this part of the hill is bright. This part of the hill that's going away from the sun, which is over here, is darker. My snow is on this part of the tree, except for the little arm edges. But you can see the point. So I just need you to have your light sources all be the same on whatever you're drawing.
Hello, Cindy.
Hi, Cindy. Thanks for joining us. So this is going to be a little bit whiter. Because now, snow is never white. Never plain white. Don't ever believe snow was white. Snow not white. Snow reflects every color that's out there. So it's more of a combination of its environment. If you're in the city and you're in gray buildings, you're going to have gray snow. It's going to reflect gray. That's just what it does. If you got lots of lights on in your city, like Las Vegas does, if it snowed down on the strip, I would see a rainbow of colors. But out in nature, snow is usually more of an earth tone or sky color or a purple. There's a lot of purple as shadows. Okay, so I got my basic ground in here. Lazy snow. Okay. I go through a lot of white on these pieces. The background is for the background white that I originally on here. It acts like a gesso would on a regular canvas to my fine art painters. I know I'm committing major sins here painting on wood, but this is not meant for my archival painters. Okay. This is meant for my craft painters that would just like to get some really cool stuff up on their wall and have it done and not have to worry that it's going to last for 20 years because it's on a piece of wood. It's not. It's okay. Wood isn't meant to last forever. Okay, so I got that. I'm going to add some shadow here on my background here. So I'm going to add some more water. Just so I can get, now it's going to be darker down here in the valley parts and up the shadow hill. So I want to keep most of this darker than this hill over here. And to me, snow always goes kind of from above and down. So wherever direction I'm at, it's going above and down. And then as I come closer, I'll use less of that grayish, bluish color. But you can still see I got, because I'm making my brush strokes go up with this. This is just a 1/2 inch flat brush. It's nothing unusual, exciting. I'm using it because it covers better than a smaller brush. Okay, so I have my tree. It's not exactly the same color as the background, which is good because I don't want it to be exactly the same, but it needs to be in the same color family. You'll notice that when I mix my paints, I tend to use all the colors that I'm using on the palette in that paint combination. So even though here we're lit up by snow, or by sun, excuse me, the snow is lit by the sun, there's still some color to it that's not white. And depending on how green the trees come out, it's kind of a monochromatic piece. So they're not really defined by color. They're mostly defined by shape and value. Okay, so there I've got that. I know I'm going to put this tree here because there's a line there that's fairly invisible, but it is there. And I know I'm going to have shadow coming off here. So I can fill this area up with a little bit darker snow and it'll just blend better now. But I don't want it to go, all the way to the point of this hill down here. I don't want it to go that far. I have a few stripes going down just to give dimensional shape. And then we've got this tree here. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know if it's in camera. Whoops. I've got this tree here, and this shadow. I'm working on this little area here and here. This is the first layer of shadow. It's not what you're going to see as the final piece, but it's in progress. And because it's acrylic, don't be shy to put down or go back and get more paint out of the container. It's just, how we do it. So I'm going to leave this tree shadow here for later when I exactly position that tree because I'm not sure where he's going to go. So now we're going to start with the tree itself. So I'm dumping this in the water. It can live there. Where's the brush I want to use today? Oh. No, not that one. This one. Sorry. This is the brush I'm going to use for most of my painting. It's a number 1 round. It could be a number 3. It could be a number 5. This is why I'm doing this demo today, because people wanted to know how I painted this tree on this candle that I took in the Painting for Profits class. And so this is what we're going to learn today. On this one, because the candle is so small, you know, I can't use a number 3 brush. I'll overwhelm it. My tree will be huge and it won't look right. So use something that's appropriate for your subject matter size-wise. Okay. So now I'm going to play in the brown. And I just dip my brush in water. And I just want a really light layer of brown. I'm not going to draw a straight line. I just don't draw straight lines. I will draw the top of the tree. So we're going to work up here at the top. So I'm just going to draw that. I know it doesn't look like a tree, but it's all right. As you see, it's off. This is my line. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. Then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to follow an imaginary line. Just, I don't generally do this, but for viewers' sake, so you have an idea of what I'm doing and where I'm going. It's a little off center. It's a little crooked. I'm not worried about it because the trees always get bigger at the base. So, I'm going to come up here and I'm paint a few branches. All branches on trees, on pine trees, this type of a tree, go down. They go down and out. They don't go up like this tree. No, don't do that. They go down, down. If you don't believe me, look at your Christmas tree.
Hello, Cheryl.
Hi, Cheryl. How's it going? Glad you made it. Oops. So again, I'm not worried that, you know, I don't have my whole tree here. I don't care. And then down here, I got a few more. And I'm just pulling my brush. I'm not spinning it. I will spin it on certain pieces. This is not where I would spin it yet. So here I have the frame for my tree. I know generally how far out I need to paint because my branches are there. I mean, you're not going to have any leaves without a branch, so we're good to go on that one. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side while I have this consistency of paint going. What time are you looking at, Mike? I had a timer yesterday. It was really helpful. So same thing on the other side. Try not to put your arm in the paint. I'm really good at that. I usually use a maul stick, but it's huge. And a maul stick is a raised bar. Oops. The flake is painting off my paintbrush. It's okay. That's what happens when you leave it in water for too long. A maul stick is a bar that is a raised bar that goes above your drawing, painting, whatever you're working on. And you can rest your hand on it without putting your arm in the paint. They're pricey. I don't recommend you get one unless you have to have one.
They're 1/3 done.
But they're really cool. Okay, so we're 20 minutes into it, and we're about 1/3 done, so we're okay. This tree here is going to be, this one's farther back, so it's littler. So this one up front is going to be bigger, so we're going to put it right about there. So there's my base. Here's my, and no, I don't care that this is not going, you know, it's not perfectly straight. It's okay. It's a painting. It'll be all right. I'm not, you know, painting for the Sistine Chapel here. I wouldn't be painting on wood. I'd be painting on fresco.
Part of the beauty of doing things by hand is they are unique. They can't be replicated. They show character.
So again, I'm giving myself a framework of where I want my tree parts to go. It gives me an idea for size-wise and how my layout's looking. And again, the tree gets bigger at the base than it is at the top, so. And then I'm just going to do one of these over here, because now I know my tree is going off the edge of the page. I'm going to paint it like it's going to be there, because otherwise it looks like you thought, oh, the tree ends here. Don't do that. That's not cool. And we're also going to put in the middle tree here, just so I know where everything is. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to scoot, sorry, I don't know if this is in the shot or not. This is over a little close to me. I'm going to scoot it over maybe an inch, so I'm going to start it right about here instead of here. I want this tree to show a little more. So we're going to start it right about here. And no, trees don't always grow straight. Now here, you can see I'm starting to twist the brush a little bit to get a variation of size. Again, I'm not concerned. This is just the initial layout. If I don't like it, get me a wet paper towel and I'll pull it off. It's okay to pull off and make mistakes. Just try and wipe all the paint off the first time with your water. This is also why when I'm putting in these positions for my trees, it's very thin. It's not really thick paint. So if I have to wipe it off, I can. So keep that thought in mind as you're doing that. Okay, so you can see my trees are never the same because that's just not how trees work. Now this is a nice fat spot, so I'm going to use this as the hook in the tree. Okay? So I work with whatever happens. So now I'm going to have a little limb go this way. It doesn't have to go as far. So here we've got this. Again, my tree has to be as fat as my tree is here. It's got to be at least that fat at the bottom. Really, do that. Otherwise, people are going to look at your tree and go, what's wrong with that tree? It's not right. And then you'll all be staring at it. Someone will be calling me up on the phone going, hey, what's wrong with my tree?
Hello, Brenda.
And I'll be happy to help you tell you what's wrong with your tree. But it's better if you.
It is easy, Cheryl.
Yes, it's easy.
To paint, no.
Oh, painting this is very easy. Yeah, I've had a lot of history and background, but you can do this. I set this up so that there's no background to speak of. I don't have 50 mountains back here behind it. I just got a big sky, which is just a simple gradient. I got limited colors, so you don't get confused on how to mix colors. On the brown, I'm mixing it only with water. That's all I'm doing and working here. But you can easily do this because you have skills. And everybody always is hard on themselves and what they think they can do, and if they think they're worthless. We're our own worst critics. Always. Don't ever forget that. I tend to turn my canvas just to make it easier because, again, if I'm not using that maul stick and my hands on it, I don't like to drag my hands around in it. If this doesn't work for you, don't do it. Just keep it upright. Whatever way works for you is the way that you need to do stuff. And then I would like a little branch coming off here. Okay, so that's my basic tree layout, and that's the basic layout of our image. So where are we at, Mike? 30 minutes or so? Now I'm going to take this greener blue that I have over here. Oops, I need more white. Huh?
5 minutes past last.
Oh, okay.
You're fine.
All right, so the first thing I want to do on this tree is obviously we put in the tree part down here. We know where our tree is going to be. So now I want to start painting the dark colors because they're furthest back. They're the thickest part of the tree. Now I want you to notice these trees down here at the base look really solid. They're not. If I didn't have all this spray painted snow over here, or flicked on snow in the way, you'd be able to see more that you could see through this tree like you can up here. You know, some parts are solid, but I try to keep space in between. Trees always have breathing room for leaves. So I'm going to work the darkest color first, and that is pretty much this color here. This one is indigo. Yeah, because the other one's winsor blue. As you can see, I still got paint in my brush. That's okay. It's cool. It'll go away. All right. So I got a big blob on it. I'm going to start at the top just like I did before because that's just where I start. It's easier for me to go down and get bigger than go up and get smaller. You just seem to, my hand just wants to put more stuff on as I continue. I think everybody's hands are that way. So now the trick is I'm not going to just put, you know, this dark wherever. It's going to have organization. So I'm going to basically follow those lines that I drew. Now I'm just taking I'm kind of painting sideways. I'm taking it and I'm kind of putting the tip down and I'm just dragging. And so I get that little bit, but I'm stacking it. So here, I'll do it again. So we'll do it on nothing here. So we'll just do it right here. And I'm just pulling.
Somebody's asking what paints you're using.
Today I'm using a variety of acrylic paints. I don't particularly care about any particular brand. I use accent colors. I'm using Craft Smart brand. What else do I have here? I have Anita's. Whatever paint you have is the paint you need to use, because that's what you've already got. I try to keep my projects.
It's honestly probably whatever was on sale.
Yeah, I buy on sale, you know. I know I need greens. Let's hope I bought dark greens and not light greens, you know. If now the background paint is house paint from a gallon bucket, for it's Bear house paint, I think it was. But you can use any brand of acrylic paint. You can do this in watercolor paint. You can do this in oils. Whatever you have is great. If you're just starting out, avoid the oils and the watercolors. Stick with my acrylic. It dries fast. It cleans up easy. It's non-toxic. It won't hurt you.
Watercolors are very difficult.
Watercolors, there's a high learning curve. It's just tough. You think it's just a piece of paper. It's not a piece of paper. It's a piece of paper that's been pressed down with heat. It absorbs the paper or the paint differently. So, and the different textures do different things. So, when it comes to watercolor, that's a whole nother category I'd be happy to talk to you about, happy to show you how to do it, but that is not this video. So here we're going to continue working on, so I'm just dragging, literally I'm just dragging, I'm just stacking it down. And I'll make it thicker in certain places, but you can see I'm following my, what people would consider my cheat lines, my tree lines, which is fine. Because this is the underside of my tree, and it's going to be thick in the center. Now, I'm not making triangles here. I'm making little stacked lines. I'm right-handed. I have carpal tunnel. So I tend to paint the same sides of the trees all at the same time. But you don't have to. You can paint however is most comfortable for you. I'm painting this way because it doesn't hurt. Carpal tunnel is painful. Now, especially as I start to add more layers, you can see instead of having just this little blob of paint like I have, I'm now going back in and I'm pulling it just a little to give it that little tree look, that little edge that's rough and different. If you don't have enough paint, go get more. We got lots of paint. This is just basically the paint. Oh, I'm losing little pieces of wood off my paintbrush. This is paint right out of the bottle. Because I'm trying to keep it, you know, straightforward. Because some of us are new and haven't painted before. But you can do this. When you buy paint, try to buy paints that match well together. Like if you're buying dark greens, I'm not going to mix it with a high pink color. It's just not going to work out for me. You know. Try to stay in the same color families. If you need help with color families, I can help you with that too.
We should do a tutorial on things like tints and shades and hues.
Sure, we could do a tutorial on different painting styles and how to get mixed colors. I know that some of us are not as knowledgeable about certain art materials and what you can do with them. Simply because you haven't been shown. It's easy to show you. I can show you. Anyway, so I'm just going this way. So you see, I do tend to turn my canvas a lot. But, you know, if it doesn't work for you to turn it, don't turn it. You know, do whatever works for you. That's ultimately all we care about, is that you get this painting done. And it looks nice when you're done. So you see, I'm just kind of cutting little swoop lines, like piece of paper.
Okay.
I am literally doing this. Okay, that's a long version of it. But that's all I'm doing. And then I go back in on these small little sections and fan them out a little bit. Now, I'm not concerned that I'm not filling the whole tree in. I don't want the whole tree filled in. Remember, I told you that. You need to have your tree breathe. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. It's going to be speed painting. So bear with me. And sometimes if your brush strokes aren't restricted, like I like to do bigger trees better than these little tiny brush strokes because, you know, my hand's free to move. But you can paint with little brush strokes. You can paint with big brush strokes. Whatever is most convenient for you. Got one little curl there. Again, I'm following my lines down here. I'm painting on top of the other tree. I don't care about the other tree right now because it's in front of everything else, so I don't care about it. That'll be one of the last things we paint is that big tree up front with no leaves. And I'm just putting in where I think darks are going to be. I know darks are going to be primarily around the trunk. I don't need to paint that line up there because I'm just going to cover it up. And then on my pictures, that little line always shows, and I don't like that. So again, I'm not concerned where anything's going. As long as it's fanning out and looking tree-like. So see, we're still keeping that nice little kind of triangle for your shape. This tree needs to get a little bigger here at the base. It's gotten a little thinner. Again, trees are always bigger at the bottom. So you can see it's just straight out the bottle. I'm not doing anything. I'm thinning it with a little bit of water. And that's it. Okay, so there's my basic shape, and that's with most of my darks. If I don't think I have enough, I will pat space in. And I'm not concerned that some is a little blobbier than others. That's cool. Because there's nothing perfect about a tree. Go outside and look at one. It doesn't grow straight. Sometimes they have two tops. Go to the tree yard that's, you know, the forest and cut down your own Christmas tree one year. Get to buy the permits from the Bureau of Land Management first, just to go out there and chop a tree down. You're breaking the law. Go out to your state, BLM, get your tree tag. Go figure out where you can cut your tree down. That's what we do every year. I didn't get to go this year, but the family went. So I'm just kind of filling in with just a little bit of dry brush here. I'm just kind of filling in a little space because I don't want it to be so bare. Because this is the undercolor. And once you're putting on top colors, it's hard to get undercolor back in there. So. And I'm just putting it wherever I think it needs more. I like fat trees. Or fluffy trees. They don't have to be flat, but they do have to be fluffy. Okay, so, for my next color, it's the same color mixed with white. And I want it kind of dark still. So I'm going to add more of the previous color, which is just a straight color. So now you see I'm getting that kind of gray-blue color. That works for snow, a little darker. If it stops darkening, that's when I add black. Otherwise, I try to stay out of black except for details when it comes to painting. Black is a combination of every color. But it doesn't look good with every color. Okay, so I have this black. It's this bluish color. It's mixed with white. It's the same one to start with. It's a darker tone than this one over here just because I added more of this. And now I'm going to come in, and I'm going to paint on top of this black color. Now remember, the dark color I have on here is the bottommost layer. So everything else I'm painting is on top. Yeah, I can see a difference. Okay. If you can't see a visual difference with your paint, lighten it up. Okay, so in this case, I'm going on top of my previously painted green lines. I'm not covering them all the way. But it's kind of like a layer on top of that eventually comes down in and breaks up that big, massive, dark color that you got going. And then it's just going to be a game of filling the blanks with the different tones of color. Now, I'm not going to go down to the bottom, down below this edge, because that's the lowest part of the tree. It's also the darkest part of the tree.
Hello, Janelle.
We'll go back up and see what might need a little more on that side. And I'm going to spin the painting just because it works for me. Like I say, if it doesn't work for you, don't do it.
Sorry, I think I got it wrong.
Is Michael calling people names?
No, I don't know if I pronounced her name right.
Oh, pronunciation. Oh, we're sorry if he said your name wrong. We tried.
I am Polly.
He means well. But thank you for joining us today. We're so happy you joined us. I hope your holidays are going well. Okay, so you can see I painted that on top. So you can see here the dark color underneath and this other color on top. I'm good with this color on that tree now. I'm going to the next one. Same thing, other tree. You don't have to have it, have a color of this dark color underneath it. You can, free paint it out there. It's a leaf. Essentially, it's a leaf. So, you can do whatever you want with it. It's a great thing about trees is you can make them be any kind of tree. There is no wrong when it comes to Mother Nature's and her trees. So, this is kind of a fill-in color. It's filling in a lot of that white. Because some trees, are thicker than others, and some have more white. If there's disease in the tree, you need to not show that, because that particular painting of that particular tree will not look right if you try to adjust the colors. If you work from photographs, that's great. I don't work from photographs anymore. I can. Most of what I paint, I generally know the shapes of. But if you're uncertain of the shape, don't paint the shape you think is there. Don't do that. Because we all go, trees don't look like that. Trees got to have da-da-da-da-da. No, paint what's in front of you. That's where mistakes are made when people start thinking it looks like this. Which is okay if you want to have a painting style and that is your technique. By all means, stick to it. But if you're just painting it because you're not sure if that's what it even looks like, regroup, do some research, and be an informed painter, because people will complain. There's no other way to say it.
You have to know the rules before you can break them.
That's true. Now see, you can see here I've covered up a little too much in my dark here. And now that I'm to this stage, you're going to start seeing more than just to the side. I've got the tree filled in enough now. Both of them are filled in. Filled in enough now that they look like trees. I could walk away from them, but they're not done. But technically, you can tell it's a tree, right? So now I've gone for the lighter color. Again, this is my sunlight side, so I want more of the lighter tones on this side. Than I do on the other side. The other side still needs those light tones, don't misunderstand me, but you gotta make it look realistic. If that's your look. If you're looking for something abstract and you have your own style, please stick with it. Don't do my technique if it's not gonna work with yours. That's the great thing about art, is you can pick and choose what you want to do, and if it works for you, do it. If it doesn't work for you, run away, But give yourself a fair chance, whatever you're doing. It takes time to learn anything. But I'll have this painting done here in this hour time frame. You will probably, if you don't know how to paint, it's going to take you more than an hour. I'm not going to kid you. Okay, so here I've got the main. So you can see, even though this tree is white, and I've got most of it over here on the top for this lighter color, I still put it on this other side. It's still going to be in the center. Now, here in the center, you see on this one here where we've got all these leaves going this way, or branches, whatever I call those, needles, I guess. And then we got these pieces here. These pieces here are giving you the tree shape and your roundedness, but this is going to give you your fullness, these little pieces through here. Notice most of those are done in the lighter tones, not the darks. Still got the space that I don't want. How's time, Mike?
We got 20 minutes.
Okay, doing good. Okay, same thing on this side. Again, the light side is over here, so I'm going to make sure all the top parts have the lighter color going on the outer brushes. Or leaves, I should say. Sorry, not brushes. And again, I'm going to do the opposite side. Same way. This is not a fast technique. It's an art technique. Painting with a number, a small round, any small round, 1, 2, 3, depending on your canvas. If I'm working on a 32 by 40 inch canvas, I am not working with a number 1 brush.
When you're working with small, it's a build-up technique.
It's a build-up technique, and so you just got to keep it within reason.
Not covering everything.
I'm not covering everything. No, I'm just doing my thing. As you see here, my grains on the back are a little pronounced of the whiteboard there. That's why I'm getting the drag brush technique down. I'm running out of paint on my brush. I have a dog playing on the floor with Michael because it's a puppy, so it's our little potot. It's our little chihuahua. He was a puppy mill throwaway, and we're just so happy he survived. He's a year old. Well, he was a year old on the 23rd. We're so happy he's doing well. So if you hear a little dog noise playing somewhere, or a little growly sounds, that's Michael and the dog. He's keeping him preoccupied. Okay, so I've done my sideways parts, and now I need to do the front parts. And I do tend to do this with this in front of me. I need some white. And because it's a tree, they don't have to be exactly the same color white. I'm not concerned that I am mixing my, Mike, can you give me, never mind, got it. It may not be the same one. I don't care if it's the same color as the other color I just put on, to be honest with you. It's a tree. There's so many colors in a tree, I don't care. So it can be a little lighter, and it will be by the time I finish with it. Okay, so again, I got my lighter layer. So again, I'm just going over the tops. Again, I'm keeping that light layer on the top. So you can see it's multiple. Now here, I'm going to come in the center, and instead of just doing the sideways techniques, I gotta fill the tree in the middle. I gotta give it that depth and dimension, and that's these little strokes here that don't look like they belong, but they will when I finish. When I have white on top of these, it'll look better. Well, it's not really white. It's a combination of white and blue. But again, and you want to keep this as the top layer because it's a lighter color, and that's not going to be seen at the bottom of the tree. And then I just come in and put it around where. And that gives the tree, when you're looking straight on it, more of a fluffy view rather than, hi, I'm a tree, and this is my angle, and I'm really a 2D tree painted flat. That's not my look. So we're not going to go that way. So here we go with a lighter color again. And the next one we're going to do is going to be our white. And then we're going to be mostly done with these back trees. So I hope that this technique has helped some people today and see what they do. Because I don't want to hide anything from y'all. But somebody got upset with me last time because I didn't show them how to do the tree. So here I am doing the tree. So here we go. But if you want me to do something specific or paint something specific to show you how, I'll be happy to do so, but I need to know what you want, because otherwise I just do my own thing, like anybody.
We take requests.
Yeah, I do take requests. Michael's not much of a painter. He does do watercolor. He took those classes with me. We're both, we have photography degrees and fine art degrees. I have a fine art degree with an emphasis on photography. I have a graphic design degree, and I have a commercial photography degree. And those are associate's and BA degrees. Okay, so I'm mostly happy with the tree. Okay, so I need some more white. So what do I do with my white? White. Like I say, it's not expensive paint. These are cheap paints. I'm cheap with my paint, unless I'm doing archival work. If I'm doing archival work, I'll spend $30 on a tube of paint, no problem. This is not archival work. So I don't have to spend $30 on a tube of cadmium orange paint, and I'm not going to. Nor do I want you to. Most of my paint is under $2 for a jar. I really try to get it under $1 for one of these because they go on sale all the time. So don't spend a lot of money because you don't have to until you get good. And if you want to, that's great. But to start out, don't do that. Don't do that. I got water right there. There. Okay. Okay, so now I have an even grayer blue. But see how this is looking white? Now this is my top layer. Or ideally it will be unless it doesn't come out top enough. Sometimes you need to add more.
Yes, that is a dove you hear in the background.
Yeah, we got birds. Sorry. I've got birds. We got a Indian ring-necked parrot. 3 foundling pigeons. What else is there? Oh, a dove. Sorry. We're down to 5 now. We used to have 8, so. So I really want to go with that blue color first before I paint the plain white on top. The plain white is only a highlight. It is not what I want to paint with to do my tree, because once you've gone white, you can't get any brighter. You're done. Game over. So, okay. And yeah, I paint those sideways. I paint them all directions. But I really appreciate everybody joining us today. I hope this can inspire you. If you have any questions, please contact me. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. We worked at the College of Southern Nevada for a number of years in the photo department, and we know how to critique and help people, and that's what we like to do. Both Michael and I were there. So you can see this tree's mostly done. It's a little more solid than I'd like, but it's okay. Again, my highlights are going to be heavy on this side of the tree. Notice I'm not making this stripe follow that one. I want it different, so it looks like it's a different branch. And as you get down to the lower parts of the tree, you can make your brush strokes be wider. They don't have to be so fine. Again, I'm keeping that white on top of the lighter blue-gray colors, because I don't want to put it right up next to that unless I have to, because see, it doesn't look right. They can come in front of it to act as a layer, and then they'll work it out just fine. But just stay on top of your tree branches, because if you don't, snow doesn't land on the lower parts because it's already covered by the higher parts. So just, be aware of what's going on around you. Some of you have snow in your areas. We don't get any snow here to speak of. We're currently in a drought. We haven't had any rain at our official measuring spot, which is McCarran International. We did?
We did finally.
Oh my God, we finally did. After 220 days, we got rain at the airport. And that's the official weathering water meter for Las Vegas is McCarran International Airport. And
it was dry for a long time.
We live in high temp area, and it has its issues. But we rarely have hurricanes. I have a couple floods once in a while. We didn't get any last year, obviously. Or this year, I should say.
No tornadoes, no.
And we never get tornadoes. We rarely get earthquakes. Here in Las Vegas, Nevada, it gets a lot of earthquakes. We don't seem to get them so often, so I'm very happy about that. We are not California. So as you can see, I'm just coming in, and I am just putting some of those middle strokes here at the beginning of my tree. And you see I'm not following existing stuff. Okay, so those are the trees. So now I'm going to go back to this brown tree in the middle. This is where I'll be using some black. But mostly, I'm playing with browns. Now, I use this green color-ish color, greenish blue color. I want that color in this tree too. If I put in some other color and not incorporate this tree's not going to match with the rest of the picture. So I try to at least incorporate a little bit of this blue color into my browns so that it all kind of jives together really well. And you'll see what happens here shortly. Because this is plain, just plain paint, plain brown, nothing exciting. Just going to fill it in so that my tree is solid, because I need a solid tree. Always have to have a solid tree for a stumpy part. We may run 5 minutes over, Mike.
Okay. Yeah, 10 minutes to 3 o'clock.
Okay.
So, wrap it up.
I'm wrapping. Okay, so I'm just filling in this tree that I did earlier. I'm just covering up the bigger sections. Notice I'm not going out on those little little tiny parts because it's a problem with this particular brush. I can go out there with a smaller brush, but this isn't it. Okay, so I painted my general tree body. Generally got it in there. I'm going to add a little bit of this blue. I'm taking it straight from there. I'm going to mix it right in. Now you see it makes a nice darker colors. It's not adding black.
Hello, Jeannie. Hello, Sue.
But it's making a nice darker color that isn't going to stand out in contrast so much. It's going to blend in with the blues that I got going. Again, my darker side of the tree is this side, so I want the darker color over here. More of a shadow space. I don't care if you dry brush it. You can put it on other parts of the tree. That's cool. Got no issues with that. But I definitely want it on the side of the tree that doesn't have the sun. Okay. I want it a little darker. More blue. I know, blue and brown. I know, doesn't make sense, but it works. Just trust me on this. Blue and brown makes mud. It does. So I'm adding to my base of the tree because the tree is getting wider above. So again, I gotta keep it bigger down below. Okay, so I'm just putting the darks down here. I'm gonna switch to my other brush. Now I have a brush. It's a watercolor brush. I mean, oil color brush. It's frazzled, but it's my fave as soon as I find it. Okay, here it is. This is an oil color brush. It's a Robert Simmons brush. It's number 61R. It's a number 1 round. It had more bristles than this, really. It did. But it doesn't now.
It's like 5 bristles.
Yeah, and it's my fave. And as the bristles fade out, I get really sad. Okay, so I'm just kind of blending this existing color so it doesn't look like I've got half of tree brown. Here's the shadow part of this part, so I want that to be a little darker. Again, I'm just doing that. Okay, so I'm switching to my tiny brush now because I need a tiny brush. Again, I'm going to put snow in first because I like the snow. My brush is incredibly thin. It's like a couple bristles. It's not big at all. If my canvas was bigger, I would work. This is really watery paint. Too watery. Happens. Go get some more. Now I got a blob of paint. It'll work. Now this is straight white. I didn't have that brownish or this bluish color tint to it. I really would like some of it there. So we're going to pick it from there. Because again, it's just dramatic if it's just a white. So I'm just going to take this brush and my bluish tint and kind of go on the edge of this branch. It's really hard to see because this brush is so small. If you get a loop like that, just turn it into something cool. Stuff happens when you paint. It's alright. So now I'm trying to paint these little white lines. And since the paint is wet, it's going to drag and mix the color on the upper part of the branch here. Because the dark is on the lower side. I'm going to blend it in just a little bit. Fingers work good for this. Q-tips work good for that. Other brushes that don't have paint on it also work good for that. This brush is really tiny. Back to my other one. It's a little too small for my purpose. Real high quality brush here, but we'll see how it goes. You put paint on them, they change. Sometimes for the better. Sometimes not. Okay, so this got a little bit of the gray, so I'm going to do the lower part. Okay, it's very blue. Don't worry about it. When that happens, it's cool. Don't stress over it. Just go and finish your paint stroke, and then go get another one. In a lighter color. In this case, I'm going to use the white to tone this down. and it's going to blend better. Now, there's a lot of paint on this brush, and it looks like there's too much, which is fine. Take your paper towel, simple dab. You don't want to get too carried away or you'll lose everything that you just put down. Because your brush or your tree doesn't have to be perfect. It has to look like snow. And snow doesn't always catch in all parts of the tree.
Let's start wrapping it up.
Okay. Again, don't worry that it's not perfect, especially if you're new to this. It's not going to be perfect, and really you don't want it to be perfect. Not really. Mother Nature's far from perfect. Okay, so I'm going to blend that line so it's not that dramatically harsh, bright line that I had a second ago. Back to my original colors. You can smudge it just a little bit if you're careful. Watch how your fingers get. Don't get too much paint on them or you'll smudge too far. And then I'll come back in with my fine brush if it's not too watery. It's too watery, so that's fine. So I'll come in with my fine brush and do a kind of a dry drag brush to get the detail there. And you can do the same thing with a little bit of white to give it that, because, you know, snow's all over the tree. It's not on just one part. So you're going to want to blend that. I'm running out of time here, so you can see what I've got going on, though. So hopefully you can finish that. I'm going to do a real quick version of how I do the snow, which is the same as everybody else does, since I'm running short of time. I want this brush. I want my shadow. Okay, so my trees need shadows. This is just a blue and white mixture. It's a very watery mixture. And I'm going to include that, you know, to like there. And same with over here. Except here I'm going to pull this down the tree, down the hill. And I want a little more shadow there. I want some of that blue in the tree. So you can mix your colors however you need to get whatever you want going. Now don't worry about the effect here. I'm going to come back with some white right here to make this look that way. I'm going to come down here so it looks a little more blended. Because it's not a harsh shadow. You want it to all be, you know, nicely blended in with nature and stuff. This is really watery through here, but that's okay. It's light, and that's my goal. Paint over your tree, because that shadow falls on that tree back there. It won't fall on all of it. If you think it's too harsh, dab it off with a brush or your paper towel. Where are we at? Right at 2 o'clock? 3 o'clock?
Yeah, right there.
Okay, it's going to take me about 5 more minutes. So if y'all got 5 more minutes, I know I was supposed to do it only for an hour, but we're almost done here. Whoops. Before you spray, if you have little pieces of brush, the paint fall off on your canvas or your picture, cover that up. Alright, to do the snow spray, I just have white. Oh, it's not this brush. This brush, just have white. This is going to fling. Works really good. Make it kind of thin so that you can, all I'm going to do is flick it, literally flick it. Now, be prepared for this. It's going to go farther than your board. Sometimes it works really well. Sometimes you need more paint. And here, snow's different colors, so it's okay if I have more than just white. I might need more white down there, Mike. There we go. Now it's here. If you like lots of snow, make your paint be a little thicker, or thinner, excuse me. And put more paint on your brush. My palettes always look weird. Yeah, see, that's better. We got water going now. And flick it wherever you want it to go. But that, in a nutshell, is how I do my painting, and that's how I do my trees. I hope everybody had a great time today. I will fine-tune this. I'll finish this little thing, and I'll post it online. And I really thank everybody for joining us today. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned something. And don't be scared to try this. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be new. If you need help, just email me. Seriously, text me or email me, and I will try to help you through your problem. We're artists. We're just trying to create. So again, I hope you've had a wonderful holiday. I hope you have a safe and happy New Year's. And I will see you sometime in January. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. Take care and be safe. And Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye.